Early one morning in February 2026, someone wielding an axe attempted to break into my home. Fortunately, they never made it through the door, but the noise did wake me up from sleep. An individual has been arrested in connection with this incident, but there is evidence to suggest that she may not have acted alone. Let's listen. It's not yet clear who was chuckling in the background, but again, their presence suggests that someone else may have somehow encouraged Alexis to do this. I can't say definitively who else may have been involved or why, but I can say this: I will not be scared into silence. I will continue to speak against sexual abusers and their enablers, intimidation notwithstanding. Killing me will not remove the statements I have already published, nor will it prevent the publication of any statements that are already scheduled. The only way my abusers and their enablers will ever stop me is by apologizing, correcting their behavior, and making amends for their wrongdoing. Lies cannot drive out lies. Only truth can do that. In 2025, a stripper and jewelry business owner accused me of recording her coworker without consent. That coworker was the sex offender stripper. In actuality, the sex offender stripper and I spoke at length about what I had in mind before I started recording. I asked her point blank, "Is that something you'd like to do for me?" And she said yes. The Treasure Club security footage will confirm this, assuming they haven't deleted it, which I'm told they've done before. Additionally, my footage itself proves that she was not only aware she was being recorded, she was enthusiastically consenting to it. I won't show the part where she raped me because that's way too disturbing, but I will show enough to prove what I've just said. The following segment is shown for journalistic purposes only, specifically to disprove a false allegation. As you can see, the sex offender stripper is looking directly into the camera, indicating that she is aware of its presence. Holding her gaze into its lens, she deliberately exposes her nipples. 19 seconds later, she shakes her breasts for the camera, then brings them in for a close-up. While this recording may constitute a violation of a club rule, the sex offender stripper was complicit in that possible rule violation. It may also be worth noting that the sex offender stripper has photographed herself and her coworkers inside the club, suggesting that the rule may not be consistently enforced. That, like several other club rules, it is merely a formality that may exist solely to feign compliance with licensing requirements. Regardless of all that, I did not violate the sex offender stripper, nor did I violate the law. In North Carolina law, an exception applies to images involving voluntary exposure in public or commercial settings. This includes moving images, such as films, videotapes, and recordings. Long story short, the sex offender stripper hasn't been violated, she's been busted. Truth is stranger than fiction. When what really happened is burdensomely complex, the lies surrounding those events are often tailored to our desire for simplicity. Long ago, I made the fateful mistake of visiting Savannah's Gentlemen's Club in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. While there, one of the lights on their main floor kept shining in my eyes. I put my glasses on, a pair of Ray-Ban Stories, in the hopes that their blue light filtering lenses would offer me some level of protection. I did not have any other glasses with me at the time, and I kept these glasses switched off. One of their dancers, whom I will call the Pink Dress, incorrectly assumed that I was recording her. In the blink of an eye, her demeanor changed from sweet to threatening. She demanded that I give her my glasses, and stated, "I can get my manager here and he'll do worse to you." Having been threatened, I complied with that demand. What I did not comply with was her demand that I unlock my phone. I had intimate photographs on there which had been sent to me by other women, and I was not about to let anyone see them without the consent of those women. Despite multiple requests, my Ray-Ban Stories were never returned to me, and I have since purchased a new pair of Ray-Bans that do not have a camera in them. Since their bouncers stated that recording in a gentleman's club is a felony, it may also be worth noting that I have never been arrested or charged with a crime, and that night was no exception. I certify that this statement is true and correct to the best of my knowledge, and I make it with the sole intent of disproving false allegations and rumors that I've been subjected to. Many of us who went to four-year universities were taught that consent is freely given and can be withdrawn at any time. What many folks don't realize is just how easily consent can be given, how broad it can be, and that it cannot be withdrawn retroactively. When you sign up for a website and check a box that says, "I agree to the terms and conditions," that's you consenting to anything and everything you post on that website being seen by anyone and everyone. If your posts are behind a paywall, you're consenting to anyone and everyone who's willing to pay a specific amount of money seeing what you posted there. And if someone sees it that you wish hadn't seen it, you can't go back and say, "I didn't consent to them seeing that," because actually, you just did. When I was in college, I met someone whom I will call the cosplayer. The cosplayer and I predominantly knew each other through an on-campus club called the Sarah Club. Sarah was an acronym for Suicide, Abuse, and Rape Awareness. Monthly meetings, anti-DV campaigns, and even a 24-hour hotline were just a few of the ways our group helped other survivors on campus. The cosplayer even nominated me as Sarah Treasurer just prior to her departure from the university. I won, but the club was disbanded before I had an opportunity to serve. A couple of years later, the cosplayer began offering racy photographs of herself online for a monthly fee. Like a few of her other friends, I subscribed to show my support. However, I found that she had canceled my subscription less than 24 hours after I paid for it, and no refund was ever issued for that. A few months later, the university's Office of Title IX Compliance informed me that I was under investigation due to a complaint she had made to them. According to her statements, the fact that I had subscribed to her spicy page, along with a couple of other things that didn't rise to the level of harassment, represented a pattern of quid pro quo sexual harassment. Does she even know what quid pro quo sexual harassment means? To say that I sexually harassed the cosplayer is inaccurate and misleading. When she posted those racy photographs of herself behind that paywall, she consented to anyone who was willing and able to pay $20 a month looking at those photos. Consent can be withdrawn at any time, but not retroactively. And if money has already changed hands, which it had, it has to be returned if goods or services are withheld, which they were. I know a lot of content creators are going to hate me for saying this, but if you charge a customer for content and then you don't make it available to them, congratulations, you've just committed theft by false pretenses. More about that coming up next. If you ever get a peek at my phone's gallery app, don't ever look at my gallery by the way, I keep tentacle porn in there just to traumatize people who try, you'll probably find that I have an abnormal number of screenshots in there. Many survivors of narcissistic abuse feel a greater than usual need to save proof of things they've experienced, because the narcissists in their lives have tried to convince them that their experiences weren't real. Though it can cause your phone's internal storage to fill up more quickly than most people's, it can also prove invaluable when someone lies about you and tries to erase evidence that will prove them wrong. And one time, my terrible screenshotting habit paid off in the most satisfying way. In 2024, someone I thought was a friend of mine, whom I will call the scammer, asked me to loan her $600, ostensibly for a plane ticket to see her family. Before I ever sent the money, she said she would pay me back. As I was doing my taxes for that fiscal year, I came across that loan and realized that she still hadn't paid me back. I asked her to pay me back, and she immediately brought up the sex offender stripper's attack on me, admonishing my conduct instead of the rapist's. She did this for two reasons. First, to shift the conversation away from the fact that she owed me money, and second, to upset me so she could use my reaction to paint me as the villain. It was a valiant effort, but it didn't work, as the conversation eventually shifted back to the unpaid loan. This time, she claimed that she was unable to pay me back due to her financial situation. It's a common excuse that's difficult to disprove, so I got a little creative. Prior to the loan, she had sold me a nude photograph of herself for $20. Since the dollar value of her nude photographs had been established and I knew she was an exhibitionist, I asked her if she would be open to sending me outdoor nudes in lieu of money. Figured it might even be fun for her. She indicated that she would be open to that. But summertime came and went, and I received neither pics nor cash from her. So I reached out to her again with a screenshot of the loan I had sent her, and I said, "Would you like to pay me back in Cash App or in photographs?" She claimed that she had declined to send photographs and accused me of sexual harassment. When I scrolled up to view the messages wherein she had consented, I noticed that they had disappeared. Fortunately, I still had a screenshot of that message, and I sent it to her with her consent highlighted. She may be able to delete our old messages, but she can't delete my screenshots. She hasn't been harassed, she's been busted, and she damn well knows it. She calls me a beast, but I am karma. You may be wondering, why have all these women accused me of various types of sexual misconduct? Well, the most common reason for a false allegation of a sexually based offense is to cover up or explain other behavior, such as adultery, dishonesty, or criminal activity. The sex offender stripper and the cosplayer were married at the time they uttered their false allegations against me. It is possible they may have been attempting to dispel any notion their husbands may have had that they were being unfaithful, even though, in a way, they were. The cosplayer and the scammer had both received money from me under agreements which were never fulfilled. I paid for 30 days of access to the cosplayer's Patreon page, but received less than a day, and I loaned the scammer $600 on the condition that she would pay it back. The scammer never gave my money back, and neither did the cosplayer. In fact, the cosplayer even admitted to scamming someone else via PayPal. The pink dress committed common law robbery against me by threatening me in order to obtain my glasses, and the sex offender stripper committed sexual assault against me when she continued dry humping me after I had verbally withdrawn my consent. At its core, this is bullying behavior. Much like a number of traditional bullies might torment a resilient kid in different settings so the kid can never escape the bullying, these women have done pretty much the same thing to me. One at school, another online, one at each club, you get the idea. And as with most bullying behavior, the bullies try to bring someone else down to make themselves feel better. Specifically in this case, they're trying to make themselves feel better about their own actions, which were wrong then and are wrong now. As an autistic person, I am 3 times more likely to be bullied than my neurotypical peers, 3 times more likely to experience unwanted sexual contact, and 22% more likely to be tricked or pressured into giving someone money or possessions. These people have contributed to those disheartening statistics.